Hi there.
Hi, welcome back to Curious Collection. I'm Will.
I'm Cinnamon.
Yesterday we talked about our P&L numbers and we talked about how people are struggling out there. People are really struggling. Consumers are struggling. Resellers are struggling.
Yeah.
And you guys had a lot of feedback for us. Almost, I think, somewhere around 40 comments on yesterday's video. So we really appreciate the engagement. It really helps to push these videos out to more people and get us more subscribers and widen that community. And, I really think just more ideas.
Yeah.
So some of the comments made me think about some of the things that we see in our world and in our local community. So one of the things is that I think Josh Galt had mentioned that some of the flea market vendors are struggling and they're having trouble making their rent in sales.
And the antique booths and things like
and
that.
And I think it was Donna that had mentioned that she's seen some of her antique malls go out of business.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that I'm attributing that to the right people. So we've seen the same thing in our community as well. We have 2 or 3 flea markets that have actually gone out of business, sold, and have been redeveloped into warehouses and storage units,
insurance places, completely going out of they're not doing flea market booths
they
anymore.
sold the building. The new building was redeveloped into a totally different industry.
Yeah.
So I was talking to a couple of different sellers. They're both at different flea markets. They're both longtime friends of ours. And so we ran into the one guy a week ago Monday, and he comes up to us, and it's hot out. It's in the 90s here. So he's drenched in sweat, and he is just fired up, angry.
He was so upset. And it's so sad because this is the same person who so many times he's very excited about his
he
flea
loves
market booths.
Selling. He absolutely loves selling. He loves his antique mall booths. He likes his flea market booths. He
likes
loves
talking to people. Every part of the flea market was right up his alley.
Right. And so this is the day that we talked to him was about 3 days before the end of the month. And he said that they have, him and his wife, they have 2 flea market booths. They had just, on the 28th, had just cleared rent.
Yeah.
The other thing that he brought up was that we're standing at the flea market. He left his wife in the booth at the table, and he walked away. He's like, I can't. He's like, I can't talk to another person who's going to lowball me.
Yeah.
I can't talk to another person who's going to, see this great item, and they don't even look at it. They just walk by. He was so frustrated. It was heartbreaking. But, he is a positive person, an optimistic person. And so he had told us his plan. His plan is that, the flea markets are essentially dying. The antique malls are dying. And his objective moving forward, he knows that he's had some positive experience selling his handcrafted furniture and primitives, primitive inspired furniture. So that's where he's going to go. He's going to go harder at the things that he likes to do anyway. So this is retirement income for him and his wife. They love collecting. They love that farmhouse primitive look and style. And so painting, older furniture and, redeveloping that type of repurposing, barnwood furniture, all that kind of stuff. They've found really good success. They have a following of customers that like to buy their stuff, and they do really well with it. So rather than them dragging the stuff around to the flea markets,
right,
or dragging it around to the antique malls, they're going to start consigning it with some higher end auction houses and just sell direct to consumer through the auction house. Yes, they're going to spend some money on consigning, but you're going to spend some money on leasing floor space at an auction, at a flea market or a antique mall anyway.
Right.
So there's costs associated with all of these things. He tells us about how he drives around to all of these different flea markets. They're not close together. They're, one's 30 miles in one direction, the other's 40 in a different direction. And even being centrally located, you're putting hundreds of miles on your vehicle every week.
Right.
So that's one thing that we've seen is that
sometimes it's just not worth it. I mean,
Right.
if you go and you can't find the inventory that we used to be able to find. So now, we go and maybe we have one good buy there. Well, by the time that you add in all of those costs that are associated with going 40 miles out of your way, is it even worth it anymore?
Yeah, we talked about that a couple of months ago. We had those Cutco knives, which they were a great piece. If they were going in my personal knife collection, it would have been fantastic. The fact that we're writing it off as business mileage for one item, driving 40 miles round trip.
Yeah.
It just wasn't worth it anymore. We wasted half a day driving, and by the time we sold the item, I think we cleared maybe $20. It wasn't worth the half a day and all the wear and tear on the vehicle. But the moral of this is that people are redeveloping themselves and their business models to be more competitive in this harder market. So the other person I want to talk about, and I'm not, mentioning people's names or, birthdays, social security numbers. Like, this was told to me in confidence, so I'm not going to tell you the people. But this other person's a retiree. She's in her 80s. And she's been the manager of a small flea market, indoor flea market. They do consignments. Basically, the different vendors will rent a booth, and then they charge you 10% consignment as people check out. So it kind of works good for all parties, right? It works well for you as a vendor. You just drop yourself off. It works like an antique mall. You don't have to stay there all day and manage your booth. And it works well for her because she's able to collect something on the back end. So she was working as a manager of this small place. The owner told her that the building's up for sale. They're selling the business, they're selling the building, and you can sign on a lease if you want to stay here, or you can go. And so she said, well, let me think about it. She ended up going from a manager position to now she's the tenant. She's leasing the building from the landlord for 2 units, so approximately 2,000 square feet for $2,200 a month. So that kind of scares me because I'm like, you're in your 80s. Like, is this something you really want to take on? But then I started talking to her, and as the story comes out, I'm going, she's really slick. She is. She very is like, savvy. She's been doing this for a long time. She knows what's up. Yeah. So part of this lease agreement is that she has a 60-day notice. So if something happens, she decides she doesn't want to be there, the economy tanks, or she has health-related issues, 2 months and she's out. Yeah. She does not have so it's a 2-year lease with a 60-day notice. So she can literally pack up, be out the door, owes nothing more on that lease after that 60-day period. Yeah. So that was really slick. And the fact that she wrote that in there was really forward thinking on her behalf. Yeah. The other thing that she tells me is that, well, the rents are going up, so booth rents are going up. So the previous owner had a lower booth rent. She's charging more now. And 20% consignment instead of 10. So she's still maintaining that world of reselling. She has a booth in the place. She loves the interaction with the people.
And that's what it is for her. She likes the social aspect. She wants to get out of the house. She needs to have something to live for. And so that's what it is for her.
And the cost, so I was saying, like, the inventory costs on this stuff, oh, don't worry about that. People bring stuff in, give it to me all the time. What?
Well, and we do too.
And we do too. So it really is one of those things. Like, the economy is changing. The dynamic of reselling is changing. The antique mall of the 90s, which was super hot, people were able to command premium prices on brands like Fenton and Lenox and the handmade furniture from the 1800s and the early 1900s was going into the thousands.
Right. And all of those primitives, you could have like one of those like hand turn whisks and that would go for top dollar.
Your house looked like a Cracker Barrel.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And that fashion was really hot there for a minute, and
Mm-hmm.
it's gone away.
It has.
And so people are redeveloping themselves, or conversely, those that are incapable of doing that or unwilling to do that are getting out of the industry.
Yeah. So you really do have to think outside the box. And we've been talking about the fact that like there's a couple of different things. You can find what works for you, right? Find your joy. Find the things that you really, really love about this job, and kind of adjust things so that you can still do the things that you love. Our one friend, they really like redoing furniture, and so that's what they're kind of focusing on, is they're getting away from some of the things that maybe they didn't like so much, the being out in the weather and that part
all
of
the
it,
driving,
and they're just focusing on the parts that they really do enjoy, which is just redoing the furniture, and then get rid of it. Maybe they don't get top dollar anymore, but at least they still get to do the things that they love.
Right. And they can be compensated properly, because again, like I had talked to him on a different occasion, and we were talking about taxes, mileage, leases, the ability to write off those expenditures, and it's not something that they had ever considered. They've been doing this industry for 25 years, and they had never written anything off. They were both working full-time employees, and they've retired since then. And now it's important. It's important when you're looking at every penny, where's the money going, to know what are my books? How much am I actually selling, and how much am I actually paying? And, they started dialing in on this, and then they realized that, last year they had worked this like a business 5 days a week, and they made $19,000 after taking out all the costs of their items, all of their booth rent,
and
all
they're
of the
going,
mileage.
really? Like, is this really what I want to do? And I mean, we have to look at everything that we're doing as well, and going, okay, well, like, we're looking at it as, if it's harder to get the dollars out of the business, then we need to budget the household dollars and dial that in, so that we can continue to do the things that we like to do. I think
it's certainly one of the adaptations that we've made in our own lives is
right.
that, we've been talking about it now for a little over a month, is that you got to live debt free, you got to budget, you got to tune in on that stuff and really know where your money's going, whether it's in your business or whether it's in your house. Is you really got to know where the stuff's going, because if you're not paying attention to it, it can get out of hand very quickly.
Oh yeah. Intention is a big part of it. You really have to pay attention to every little piece.
Right. So one of the other things that we've been doing, and we've kind of, talked about a little bit, is that we sell in multiple different categories and different niches. And so, you do a lot of jewelry stuff.
Yeah.
I do a lot of ephemera, postcards, photographs, brochures, maps, anything that's written on paper, even papyrus sometimes, whatever is never meant to survive. That's the type of stuff that I end up with. But in the past, we've done furniture. We showed you on our video last week, we had sold a clock and, some cast iron. And so with regard to diversifying, we're trying to diversify our product lines. We're trying to diversify our categories, try to get as much depth as possible into some of those other areas, while at the same time focusing on the things that we like.
Yeah, because if you hate what you're doing, then what's
the point? Yeah. What's the point? If it's just a paycheck, I can go make a paycheck doing a job I hate.
Right, and it's a much bigger paycheck.
I would hope. I'd hope at least even.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we talked about was that, when I first started doing this, I was excited to just sell. And I just wanted to find anything I could sell. And in 2020, you could sell just about anything. So I could go to a thrift store and pick up some dented up pans that were, covered with carbon and clean them up, and somebody would be interested in that. I could take that nasty, rusty cast iron pan, redo it, and I could put it up for sale, and I could command good, decent money.
Right.
I mean, I had a crock pot from the 70s, avocado green.
Mm-hmm.
It was gorgeous. I had the original box.
Yeah, it was cool.
And it sold for close to $80. You can't command those types of prices today on the same types of products.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I moved away from the dishes. I don't like to wash dishes anyway. I wash enough dishes around the house.
Isn't that the truth?
So I moved away from that. One of the categories that did well for me was like figurines. Even though a lot of people will tell you don't mess around with like the Hummels and the Precious Moments and stuff, there's other types of figurines that do sell.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was buying a lot of that stuff and found it very easy to flip those items. And I don't like washing figurines because a lot of times people will have them sitting on a shelf, they get dusty, and you got to scrub them.
Yeah. But you have to carefully scrub them so you're not getting off the paint or, any of like that spaghetti.
Yeah, you don't want to chip the porcelain or anything like that. So, but again, we moved away from it because I don't like that part of the job. So if there's stuff that you can do to diversify your business, to make yourself more competitive and still put money in your pocket without having to do the stuff you don't like, that's what I would encourage anybody to do, is leave the stuff you don't like to do to somebody else. They can put it into their business and you can just focus on the stuff that you like, so long as you're making money.
Yeah. No, and it's a very delicate dance, and trying to, it's hard to just try to create this whole other aspect of the job. And I think that even like diversifying and doing your cross listing and, all of that as well. Like, yes, I love doing the jewelry. And in order to keep doing the jewelry, I have to branch out into other avenues because it's just not, it's not catching the way that it used to because people don't have the dollars to spend. So, okay, well, I'm going to have to try to think outside the box and continue to do the things I love to do. I just have to do it in more places. So,
yeah. And instead of postcards right now, I haven't been selling a lot of postcards. So I stopped listing postcards last week. And I said, I'm not going to list postcards until they start to sell again. There's no reason for me to be dedicating that much time into a category that isn't working. So, I have 4 other categories I can work from and 6 other death piles. So, I could definitely take that time, put it into something that's going to get results and still be something that I enjoy. So, I'd like to know.
And we're also dialing back on our inventory, like the new inventory, right? Like there was an auction that was open yesterday, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to look at it because I don't have the extra money to spend on inventory this month with the fact that sales have been down. So I'm not even going to look at the auction because we don't have the excess inventory dollars to invest because and honestly, like we have enough.
We did go to an auction yesterday. So we went to one in person and then there was another one online. The one that we went to in person, we didn't
buy anything for the business.
Anything for the business. We did buy some plants and a bracelet for the house. And
it was budgeted. It was budgeted.
And then, but the other one, the online auction, we didn't buy anything. I looked through it. There was nothing for us. And instead of stretching and trying to find something to make money on, we have plenty of stuff here already. We don't need to do that. So we're just going to be leaner, meaner, and more focused and, looking for those adaptations that we can put into our business that will make us more lean and mean. So I'd like to know from you guys, are you instituting any changes in your business moving forward? I'm not a sporadic change person. So I like to see proven results over time.
Yeah.
I'm not bouncing from
and
one thing to another to another.
Because you do, like there's sometimes like you see other resellers who are like, well, the market is difficult right now, so let's make all the changes all at once. And that's kind of scary too, because then you don't know what's working.
Right. Well, and that's what I'm saying is that like, if you are kind of like me and you like to make change very slowly, are you instituting sales? Are you doing promoted listings? Are you increasing your promoted listings? Are you sourcing better or different items? You know, what types of changes are you instituting into your business to get through this? Or do you feel like you have your business completely dialed in to where you don't need to make any changes? Somebody said that they had 48% growth last month.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like they've got it figured out, and
Right.
I'm trying to get there. Like, that's really what I'm looking for, is how do I get to where they are? Because if they're seeing that kind of double-digit growth month over month, year over year, that's where we really want to be.
Yeah.
So, you know, definitely write in the comment section. Let us know. What are you doing moving forward to change your business for the positive?
Mm-hmm. Or to keep your business, like if you're already in the positive, like what things are you finding that's really helping you stay there, or honing into, you know, how do you grow a business during a recession? How do you, you know, that's,
people do it though, and that's really what I'm looking for.
Costco certainly is a recession-proof
right. The
business.
discount retailers are crushing right now, in that, you know, they have the right pricing structure, and they have all of the logistics that they need, and they have all the suppliers that they need, and they're absolutely crushing it in that discount retail section.
Well, and that's kind of like what I'm hoping is going to happen with eBay, is that people will catch on to the fact that things are discounted on this platform, and hopefully they're going to come back to eBay and search those discounts. Like, let's get some more advertising in that department. You know, like eBay as a platform needs to advertise in that direction. I feel like that's a whole video
that I've seen about 10 different times, is eBay. You need to advertise.
Yeah, you really do. Like, advertise like, hey, it's a recession right now, so find the better deals on our site.
Yeah, it is. You know? It's also one of the challenges that I will point out, though, is that we're talking about deals and we're talking about eBay, and eBay's not always the best deal. And that is very frustrating to me. And I really blame those suppliers, the vendors on the site, the sellers, just like you and me, that, you know, we have our 9.5 by 11 rigid envelopes. They're cheaper on Amazon. I have to buy them on Amazon because I can save 50 cents or $1 or $2.
Same thing with my jewelry boxes.
Right.
Any of that packaging material.
We just went and bought some jewelry boxes from Walmart.
Yeah.
Walmart.com had them the cheapest. You know, so again, we want to compete. We have to have competitive pricing. You can't assume just because you're the cheapest on the platform that you're going to be the cheapest online.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to our supplies, we shop around, and we have no loyalty.
Yeah, no, and I mean, that's kind of like, I think that's all buyers right now, is that they do have to let their dollars stretch as far as possible.
Yeah. I think that might be a video for another day. So
yeah.
Why don't you guys like and subscribe? And again, comment down below what types of items are you looking to, or what type of things are you looking to change in your business?
All right. Good luck to you guys out there. Thanks so much.